What's going on, everybody? My name is Cody Vondell, and today I'll be fixing your Y2K logos. Several weeks back, I posted on my Discord asking for your logos for me to fix on screen. We had some really great submissions, and I'm very excited to show you how I would handle redoing your logo. If you like this video and you'd like to see me expand upon your work, make sure to hop on our Discord and post your logo. Before we get started, just gotta say thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing my content. It means a lot that the work that I do on screen helps you with your design process. And if you're following along with me on screen or using some of the templates that I sell on Etsy, make sure to hop on our Discord. We have a dope community. It's always growing. Artists, designers, musicians, producers, everybody sharing their works in progress, resources, free assets. It's a dope community to be a part of, and I hope to see you there. Let's take a moment really quick to check out what everybody's been posting. As always, you guys are absolutely crushing it, and I'm very thankful to have a server where there's so many dope artists congregating and making really cool stuff and sharing what they're doing. And if you're not already over there, I hope to see you there soon. If you want to support my channel and get yourself some cool merchandise and graphic design templates, make sure to hop on my Etsy. I have pins and patches, t-shirts, hats, and a variety of holographic stickers. And of course, graphic design templates that will speed up your workflow. And if you like my intro, outro, background music, I create it all. Just search Cody Vondell on Spotify or your preferred streaming service, and you can also find all of my music on SoundCloud or Bandcamp. And of course, at Cody Vondell on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. With all that being said, let's hop on screen and start fixing some of your Y2K logos. This first submission is from Fish. So, Movement magazine. So I really like the way that this one was handled. I like the color scheme, the sort of texture that's been added there. I like the Planet Cosmos font. I'm not gonna lie, it's cool. I know it's overused, I still like it. But because it's overused, maybe we could find a different font that works just as well. So we're just kind of playing around with some other fonts that are sort of in that same lane. Obviously there's Planet Cosmos right there. So maybe we could try this one right here. I think it's Ptolemy. So yeah, let's play around with that. Let's create outlines out of that font, out of the type, and let's play around with those hard edges, those hard corners, maybe making those a little softer. Something like that might actually come in handy. Just going through here and rounding out all those corners, and some of those corners are not rounding out, so we'll go in here and manually type out what we want. Both M's need to look exactly the same, so we'll make sure to get those all those corners looking good, and then we will repeat that same process. Also thinking maybe we could play around a little bit with the kerning, so we'll do that real quick. Get these letters just a little bit closer together, and kind of just playing around overall with the size and scale. I think something like that is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and play around with like outlines and stuff like that. Maybe we could give this a faux 3D kind of look. All right, so we are making a copy real quick so we can kind of get that faux 3D look. So we'll select both of those. And we'll go ahead and specify shapes. 50, something like that is looking cool. Nice, now we have that faux 3D look. I think the outlines being a little bit thinner actually looks kind of cool there, but maybe we can thicken them up just a tiny bit. Something like that. Think like that. That's it. And magazine, we can kind of have that down here in a font very similar to Planet Cosmos. So overall, I think that looks cool, and yeah, we might as well bring it in here and add a little bit of color and texture as well. So let's just paste it on in. That is looking pretty cool. And we can change the color on the background here. And all this, we can just kind of copy that out. Get rid of this. And we will play with like the color overlay on this layer as well. Trying to kind of keep in the exact same lane as the original submission, but just sharpen it up a little bit, just give it something different to play with. So that is the goal here, just kind of adding that print overlay, using the color halftone, makes it look like old print magazine kind of thing. So that's the old one, and this is the new one. What's some other stuff that we could do? Obviously, we need to add a little texture of our own. So make it a little bit smaller and a little bit more subtle. I think our texture is a lot more subtle. So let's fix that. That's looking pretty cool now, I think. We've merged all of that. Adding our color halftone one more time. Gonna turn down the opacity on that. And there it is. There's that print look. Very similar to the original submission, just using a slightly different font and, different texture and stuff like that. But overall, very similar. This submission comes from Celebris. So I like the overall design here on this Celebris logo, but there are just a few little things like the outlines that I think could be a little thicker, and maybe the rings and the stars in the background could be just a little bit tighter. So that's what I'm gonna focus on for this one. Overall, I think it's a really good font that they've chosen, and I wanna keep that, so we are doing that. I think the kerning and everything looks good. I'm gonna hop here into my Y2K icons template and pull out the star and ring that we're gonna use. And we're just gonna adjust things until they're feeling just a little bit more comfy. So we're taking the basic design that they've created and just changing out some things to make it feel a little bit more tightened up. So that's the goal here. So first thing I'm gonna do is play around with this star, kind of get a thick white outline on it, play around with the corners, the edges a little bit, and just see how all that kind of works out. I think we'll copy it and paste these kind of smaller versions of the stars in how they had it in the original design. And we can kind of turn these around and try to get these looking sort of comfortable too. We might actually, what we'll do, we'll just copy all of this, flip it around, bring it right down there, make sure it is exactly right, and then we can just get rid of that second ring. So something like that I think is looking pretty cool. And next we can just kind of maybe play around a little bit more with the thick black outline, thick white outline, just kind of playing around with stuff and seeing how it works. Just tightening up the logo, that's all we're doing. And for the coloring, let's go ahead and paste this in here. Throw that purple in the background and start selecting different parts that we want to copy onto a new layer. So maybe we can just select all of the black. Copy that, paste it. Yeah, that's looking cool. And we will use the original color way that they had chosen on their example. And we'll just kind of play around and see how that looks, compare it all. Cool. And this next submission is from Redslam. All right, so Chicory. This is a really fun logo. It's very busy. There's a lot going on in this one. So I've chosen a font called Space Age that I think will work for that. We're gonna play around a little bit with the outlines on it. And then we'll try to get something that's, fun and over the top, but maybe just a little bit less busy, a little bit more focused, a little bit more minimal. So maybe what we could do is hop into the vector pack and put something like this. And just kind of play around with the placement and the size and all that kind of stuff and how it works with the outlines that those thick outlines that we have, all that kind of stuff. So scaling it up a tiny bit. We got rid of that circle in the bottom, or in the middle of it, so we'll just copy that and paste it right over there so we still have a copy of it, but we're gonna adjust this just a bit. I think we might get rid of some of these parts. So that's looking pretty even, so let's get these things centered. Now that they're centered, we need to decide if we want them to scale up or down a little. I think something like that's looking pretty cool. And maybe we can bring these dots in and scale them down just a tiny bit. It's looking okay. Zoom in here and yeah, cool. That's comfy. I don't know. Where else could these dots go? We could maybe take the thick black outline off and maybe something like that for now. Get everything centered. And we'll copy it. And scale it and make sure that this is 300 DPI. And we can just paste this right on in here. Cool. And for comparison, Sly Knightington submitted this one. And Flare. So that is a really cool logo using phenotype. We'll play around a little bit with the kerning on this. And yeah, just kind of keep that same idea that they came up with, but just tighten it up a little bit. I think maybe a nice minimal font there on radio. And we'll pull some dots from the asset pack. Throw that in here. Something like that. Make sure those are all centered and looking cool. Create outlines. I think that radio's fine to go ahead and create outlines out of. So let's go ahead and get our thick black outline on the flare text. I think that is looking cool. And they went with one of these kind of flare shapes that I included in the pack, so we're gonna use that one as well. And we'll scale it down a little bit, kind of push it back there. Rotate it a bit, try to just get it feeling nice and comfortable in comparison to the, you know, the font and the outlines and all that kind of stuff. And I think we're also gonna use one of these like ray shapes. We'll just flip it around here a little bit. So I think this is sort of a slightly more minimal take on it, but keeping the exact same shapes, just doing something slightly different with it. So maybe what we can do now is paste it on in here and start adding some color to it. And I feel like there are different things that we could do as far as coloring goes. Obviously that one colorway looks great, black on any color background or vice versa. Maybe we can see what it would look like with the outline. Something like that doesn't look awful. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I could see that working. And I really like the colors that they chose on like all of their options here. That's really cool. So yeah, that's just a little idea of how I might kind of clean things up. You could also do white on green. That looks great too. Very minimal, but still over the top. Still has a cool look to it. Something like that's kind of cool too. Just kind of playing around with the different outlines and things that you can do there. And this last logo was submitted by Subnormal. All right, so this Subnormal logo looks pretty cool. Just want to, play around with some different ideas overall, trying to keep in the same lane as the original, just maybe making this one a little bit more minimal, something like that is maybe what we'll try to do. So once again, we can do our little faux 3D kind of look here. Do 100, I think something like that ought to look cool. Okay. And we'll get this in here, make sure it has the white outline, the white color, so the thick black outline looks right. Already, that's looking pretty cool. And we'll play around a little bit with the shear. It looks strange. Got to keep playing with this one just a little bit. Get that shear looking right. I think that is a lot cooler, a lot smoother. So they have a very similar ring to the one that we used on that very first one. So maybe we can have some different options here to play around with. And we'll scale that down and push it back a little bit. So we could keep it centered, I guess. Let's see what else do we have here. We'll throw in a few of these little stars as well. Maybe over here is looking cool as far as placement goes. Yeah, something like that is looking pretty pretty comfy. We could scale up the text a little bit, maybe not. Yeah, just kind of comparing these two. We'll pull out some of these colors. We'll paste this one in here. And we'll try to color it a bit so that it feels on par with the original. Boom, I'm already feeling that. Let's play around with some other options though. As always, the white on purple, I mean, I think that looks cool. We could also check out how, yeah, that's a pretty cool comparison. Just cleaned it up some. So that is how I would handle redesigning the logos that were submitted on my Discord. I really enjoyed this process and I'd like to do it again soon. So if you have some work that you'd like to submit, make sure to hop on our Discord and share it. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of fun content on the way that you do not want to miss out on. If you want to check out some of my recent work, I just made a video on the process that I went through to create my brand new free font called Googie. I just did a video using the eye candy plugin in Photoshop to add realistic chrome textures to all types of logos. I released a video on the design process that I went through creating a new logo for Virtua 94. And I've been releasing a lot of fun music lately, my pop punk cover of Lil Yachty's Poland, as well as my super spooky dubstep Halloween theme. So that wraps us up for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I can't wait to talk to you on my Discord, and I will catch you in my next video. Thank you all.
Yeah.